stand in front of the screen for this one?
I can.
Thank you very much.
Hey.
I've got to shoot off now, unfortunately.
Hello, I'm getting a bit Am I on? Hey.
I might give you this.
I can use that.
Yeah.
That's much more glamorous.
Is that all right?
Hello. Hey. Cool. Hi. How's it going? I'm Patrick from Brompton. I'm the sales manager for the UK and Ireland. As you've seen in the there we go. I think the sensor's over there. As you've seen in the in some of the system diagrams that have been put up, we're sort of the step in between your video source and the LED. So we're not one of the glamorous things. We're not the cameras and not the tracking. We're a little box that sits behind the LED, but does an incredibly important job. So you might just think that we're just taking the video in and putting it on the LED, but as every LED panel is different, we're in charge of making sure the content that you're giving us and the color that you're giving us is displayed as accurately as possible on the LED. So our engineers will look at every single panel that is on a Brompton system to make sure that when you plug a video source into our LED, our processor knows the color capabilities of your screen and can display the content you're trying to play back accurately. So I've only got 10 minutes. I'm not going to go through everything that we do because we've got a huge amount of features, but I'll just give you a quick intro about Brompton. And where's my... There we go. And then do a little bit about just some of the things that recent things that we've brought in to deal with low brightness and color linearity on the LED. So Brompton's been a company, and we're going to go back, and we're going to go back. Hey, Brompton's been a company for 10 years. We're actually celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. We've just got our first process was our M2, and our first ever production unit was still being used on jobs, and we've just got it back to use for marketing for our 10-year thing, which is quite cool. It's cool that that unit is still working. And one of our new features, extended bit depth, that I'm going to talk about in a bit, actually, that feature actually works on the M2, so we're still actually releasing features for our old products free of charge. So we started as primarily as a live events company. We've been doing live events for 10 years, and we're primarily on like massive shows. As you can see there, we've got the most recent Ed Sheeran tour. We've been on the last few Ed Sheeran tours, and one of the things about these big shows is that they have cameras pointed at them. So we already had a huge amount of features in our processing to try and make the LED look as good as it can on camera, which meant when virtual production kicked off, we were already in a really good place to be the forerunner in that industry, because we already put a huge amount of R&D work into how it looks on cameras. So we had a lot we could innovate on top of to put us in a really good place and get your LED looking as good as possible. So I'm going to talk about just two of the challenges that you might find when shooting on an LED wall. So VP studios are generally run at quite low brightness, and when you're running at low brightness, the bit depth of your panels might be an issue, because as you dim your brightness, you've got fewer steps in your brightness in your grayscale. So in the very dark areas of your content, you might start to see like banding. Which obviously doesn't look good. And then also, as pixels dim, the linearity of pixels, they don't always dim accurately. So you might find if you're running a LED wall at 10%, that your red pixels are looking a bit, maybe pushing a bit harder than they should be, and your other pixels are maybe a bit dim, and you're getting like color casts in your LED. So your color is not as accurate as it could be. And I'm just going to talk about a few things that we've done to try and combat that. I've covered that. Okay, cool. So every panel on this wall we're on a Brompton system here, and every panel on this wall has an R2 card inside of it. So this is our receiver card. So the video goes into our processing system, and then the processor talks to the R2 card that talks to the pixels. And the R2 card needs to know exactly the color capabilities of every single pixel on that wall. And that's where our Hydra camera comes in. So our Hydra camera is like our calibration tool that every single panel on this wall has been measured with the Hydra camera, and it needs to be measured with the Hydra camera to unlock HDR to be able to work with PQ workflows on our LED. So in a pitch black room, you sit our Hydra camera, and then 4 meters away you put your panel, and after it's heated up, the panel will flash red, green, blue incredibly quickly, and all that color data is stored within the Hydra. You do that with every single panel in your batch, and then the Hydra will produce a Hydra report. So as you can see, this, just so you know, this isn't a report for these panels. This is just a demo report, so don't draw any conclusions from this, I guess. But up there you can see we've got the percentage of Rec 2020. No panels are hitting Rec 2020, but the report will show you how close you're getting. And you'll get a CIE diagram here of and the dark line, the thick line there, is the available color gamut of your panels. So you know, if you're buying a batch of LEDs on a Brompton system, you could request this report before you took the delivery, so you know exactly the capabilities of what you're buying. And then from this, when you feed content into our system, we know exactly the color capabilities of your panels and can make and know whether we're displaying the color accurately, or if you give us a color that's outside our gamut, we can do calculations to get you the most accurate color possible. So Hydra calibrates at full brightness, but as I was talking about, as pixels dim, they don't always dim in a linear fashion. So you might get color casts in your low brightness areas, and that's where we brought in a new measurement system called Pure Tone. So Pure Tone measures at every other brightness level, apart from, well, it doesn't actually measure full brightness, but it measures at every brightness level between 0 and 100. Whereas a Hydra measurement takes about 5 seconds per panel, Pure Tone measurement takes anywhere between 1 to 5 hours, but you only have to do it once per batch. So if you bought a batch of this many panels, you'd Hydra every single panel, and you Pure Tone one, and then we apply that measurement across the whole batch. So the Pure Tone will step through every step of brightness, take a measurement at every step, and then correct for the linearity, and make sure you're getting color accurately as you dim your LED. So that's our new feature that we're dealing with to deal with color linearity. The idea is both these systems, the Hydra and the Pure Tone, will happen before you receive your LED. So the manufacturer they'll arrive with a Hydra measurement. They should arrive with a Pure Tone measurement as well. So you don't have to deal with getting these systems done. And then I'll talk about one more feature, which is one of our newer features, which is extended bit depth. And I was talking again about how as you dim LED, you'll often get banding in the lower edge, because the panels some panels just won't have the capacity in the drivers to display every step of brightness that you're asking of it, so you'll get bands of brightness. But with extended bit depth, what we do is if you turn it on, if your panels are capable of it, it allows you to extend, to get extra steps in your driver bit depth for your panels. So how that works is, let's say you're running at 24 hertz, but your panels are able to do 250 hertz. That essentially means there's this huge amount of refresh in your panels that you're not using. And we use that extra refresh to affect how quickly we turn the LEDs on and off within your panels to give you extra steps in your brightness. So you say so you could, as I said at the top of there, we could get up to 3.3 additional bits. We've got it turned on. We've got a little demo outside. I turned it out there on the PL 2.5. So if you're running at 24 hertz, they're a 16-bit panel. You turn it on, and then it turns your 16-bit panel into essentially an 18-bit panel, which makes a huge difference in your low brightness areas, in your color accuracy, and I can show it to you if you pop outside. And we've also got a huge amount of other features for LED on camera. I'm not going to go through them all here, but feel free to come and have a chat to me or Harry outside, and we'll happily tell you anything you want to know about Brompton. Cool. Thank you very much.
Hey.
Thank you one more time, Patrick, everyone. Fantastic.
Hey,
and we are using the screens, as he said, with Brompton in, so we can have a chat through when we go into space later all together. Let's applaud again, because we're going to bring on now, of course, someone you met before, Brian Mercado from Absen. Brian.
Thank you very much.